live from Huntertown, Indiana. It's Soarin on the air. So today we're going to finally turn a little sunny. So the frogs are retreating as the water goes down, and it's looking like a nice day. It's a little humid, but but it's better here than in a lot of places in the country. So, but still, we're going to keep you guys indoor for a little while, and we're going to a new topic for today.
Yay!
So, yeah.
Well, no.
Boy, that was a lot of enthusiasm, wasn't it?
No.
So anyway,
Rewind.
Yeah, so it's okay. So anyways, we're going to go ahead. New topic for today, and the new topic for today, symbiosis.
Ooh.
Oh, wow, okay. So this is a little topic, so somebody asked about what relationships do hawks and eagles and owls have with other birds and other things. And I started looking into it, and well, when I get to the end, I'll let you know. Okay. But we're going to talk about symbiosis, and it's kind of a very interesting and involved situation, and it's widespread. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. So symbiosis. So there are three forms of symbiosis, and I can't say communalism. So that's where one species gains or benefits while other neither gains nor loses. So it's kind of a neutral thing. So, and we'll show you some examples of that. There's mutualism. That's mostly what we think of as been symbiosis. Both species gain from the relationship. And then there's, oh, Bob, you spelled it wrong. Parasitism. Just don't notice that. I don't know. It's always kind of like, okay, I'll fix that later. So parasitism, and that's where one species gains while the other loses. So, it's kind of like taxpayers and the government. We lose, they gain. Okay, so, and it's painful to us. So anyways, so we'll go through and we'll talk about some of the different things. So we'll start off with commensalism. Okay, so what are some examples? Well, here's a robin, has a nice nest in the tree. The tree provides a platform for the robin to have its nest where it's protected, it's shaded, all that kind of thing. So the robin gets lots of benefit from the tree, but the tree gains nothing from the robin. So that's one form. Another form, like you've seen the wildebeest or gnus going through the prairie. Same way with buffalo and other grazing animals. And what these guys do is, as they're going through the grasses, they're flushing insects and things, and they go up in the air, and things like swallows and martins and drungos and other birds come out, and they get the insects. So it's no direct benefit to the gnus, but the thing is that the birds all gain. The same thing, you see people out there with their big lawnmowers, they're mowing the grass, and here come the barn swallows, and they're going along. The guy mowing the grass gets no benefit from the swallows, but the swallows get all those nice bugs, and they dash back and forth as they're going through. Same way when the farmer, well, no, that one is mutualism. We'll get into that later. Okay, I almost jumped the gun. Another example, so now we talk about mutualism. So we have birds that are sort of identified as tick birds in the States, particularly down in the South. We have a thing called cattle egrets. These immigrated from Africa over to South America, and then they moved up, and they've become very popular in the southern states. And you quite often, they're usually around ponds and things like that, but you also find them with cattle. And so as the cattle move through the grasses and stuff, they, of course, flush bugs, but also the cattle get things like ticks and other insect vermin on them, and so the cattle egrets come along and they pick the ticks off, and so quite often you'll see egrets riding on the back of cattle down in the South, and I imagine these cattle egrets get all the way up into southern Indiana, and they used to be very popular, but like all introduced species, they did real well for a while, and then as the population grew, then finally they hit a critical point, and then their population has diminished, and so you don't see quite as many of these you used to. So anyway, so this is a tick bird, if you will, and the bird goes along and picks off the ticks off the cattle, and the cattle don't mind that. That's good. So here both benefit. Okay, the cattle provides a platform and a feeding source for the egrets, and the egrets eat the bugs, right, which would cause problems for the cattle. So mutualism. Another type of commensalism is this example. This is a drungo. This is a fork-tailed drungo. And what this guy does is he sits up on a perch and he keeps an eye out for things. And he's a good imitator. So he can make some nice sounds like hawks and things like that. If you notice on the right side are these things called meerkats. And meerkats like to eat things. They go out there to eat beetles and scorpions and stuff. So if the drungo happens to see that the meerkats have a nice scorpion or something all lined up to pounce on, they sound like a hawk. They make the hawk sound. That scatters the meerkats.
Oh.
The meerkats all run off, leaving the prey behind, and then the drungo goes down and gets it. But also the thing is that the drungo also is a lookout. So if it does see danger, just like our girl out here, Ginger, when she sees danger, she sounds off. Well, so do the drungos. So here's a little bit of commensalism, and so I think these guys got mixed up somehow. Okay, so I don't know how that mutualism got in the wrong place. It got in the wrong place. I think it got slipped. Anyways, so I was down in Brazil, and here was a pair of jabberoos up their nest. These are the guys they sometimes call big bird. And they're not quite as big as ostriches, but they are big for flying birds. And so these are big storks. They have these big nests. Well, one of the things I observed while I was up there taking pictures were these monk parakeets.
Huh.
These little monk parakeets, they have their nest inside the nest of the jabberoos. I always call them Subarus, but those are cars, and that'd be really hard. Yeah. So anyways, so the monk parakeets go ahead and they build their nest inside there. And so they have the protection of one, the big nest. Second, they had the protection of the jabberoos, because jabberoos aren't going to let anything big around. And so they get some benefit, but the storks don't get any benefit from the monk parakeets. So. And one of the things I did run into is this guy here is called a black-chinned hummingbird. It's found out in the West. And it's been noticed recently that these guys have taken on a new, or have adapted a new behavior. They sometimes nest at the base of the nest of hawks. So like a red-tailed hawk or a large hawk would have a big nest. And these guys go and they make their nest right at the base of the hawk nest. The hawk gets no benefit from the hummingbird. This guy's just slightly bigger than a ruby throat, and is found in all kinds of elevations up. In fact, I just saw some out there. Let's see, how high were they? I think we're somewhere around 8,000 feet or something like that. So they get up there. But anyways, so the ruby, or the black-chinned hummingbird, is protected. It has the hawk there to protect him, but he basically provides no benefit at all to the hawk. And he's too small to be even edible for a hawk. The hawk's not going to eat him. It's like, this is even a bonbon, okay? So there's no sense.
Yeah.
It'd be more work than it's worth the effort, to eat something like this. So here's another case of where one benefits but offers nothing in return for his accommodation. Now we'll get back to mutualism. I don't know how that thing got switched. I'm sorry. So we'll talk about some other forms of mutualism. The red-billed hornbill on the right side or left side there, and these things here are called dwarf mongoose. Well, again, just like I showed you before about the drungo and the meerkats, the red-billed hornbill forms a service for the mongoose. But what it does is it can sound an alarm when danger approaches, and so sometimes it sounds an alarm so that it flushes the mongoose away from some prey. you know. But the other thing is that the mongoose, because they're so low to the ground, they really can't see um, approaching predators and things like that. So the red bill protects them by sounding the alarm when anything dangerous comes around. So he protects the mongoose. The mongoose flushes insects for him that he can eat. So it's a mutual thing. And this give you an idea. The red-billed hornbill there is not a very big bird. It's probably maybe not quite the size of a crow. It wouldn't even be that big. So it's a small bird relative to hornbills, and the mongoose, of course, is a dwarf one and tends to be a little on the small size. In fact, you could probably pick up 2 or 3 in your hand. You know, they're so small. Another form of mutualism, or another example, are zebras and ostriches. And you think, okay, now what? So what do you got? Well, one of the things about zebras have very poor eyesight. Okay, and but they have a very good sense of smell. But ostriches, on the other hand, can't smell anything, right? But they have good eyesight. So whenever there's predators around, okay, if say the zebras can smell the lions or cheetahs or whatever that's approaching, they bark. You know, they do that sound that sounds like a donkey or something, but they do this braying sound which warns the ostriches that there's danger. On the other hand, when there's things that the ostrich can see that the zebras can't, they sound the alarm. Okay, so they get activated and warn the zebras. So here's something that's mutual. The benefit is they protect each other. Okay, so it's an alarm system that works to the benefit of both. So that's another form of mutualism. Bees, okay. So here's a form of mutualism, and I learned a lot about bees when I looked into this a little bit. You know, we all know, and we've heard or read or whatever, that bees go to flowers and they pick up pollen, and then they distribute the pollen from flower to flower, fertilizing the flowers so that they can make more little baby flowers. And but some of the things I didn't know is that bees can detect an electrical field. And so one of the things that when bees fly through the air and they encounter other particles and stuff in the air like dust and things like that, they actually get a positive charge on them. And apparently flowers actually have a negative charge. For every meter of height, they have about a 100-volt charge. So as the bee gets close to the flower, the pollen actually jumps off and is attracted to the bee.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the other thing is that as a bee goes toward a flower, if he doesn't detect any electrical charge, he knows another bee's been there. So he just flies on by. So that's why sometimes you go out and you watch the bees. Sometimes they're attracted to a flower, sometimes they're not. And it isn't because of a sense of smell. It's the fact that there's electrical charge. So this is something they've known about since the 90s anyways. And so that was like, every time you go out there and you look into stuff, there's always something else to learn. You know, I just kind of like, dang.
Yeah.
You know, like I say at the end, wow. Okay. Yes. it's always that way. So here's the bees there. And so that's the bee's knees on bees and flowers. And also another pollen gatherer, of course, are hummingbirds. And again, this is another black-chinned hummingbird. This is the female. And you can see the pollen over her head and on her beak. And of course, as she goes from place to place, she spreads the pollen, pollinating the flowers. So the flowers give up some nectar. And so that's the thing. The bees get the pollen that they carry back to the beehive. So they go after the flowers, the pollen, that kind of thing. The hummingbirds, they go after the nectar. So they're after the nectar in the flower. So they go and they spread the pollen. And then I think I showed you when I did the bat program about the long-nosed bat here goes up to the open flower at night, the saguaro cactus, sticks its head in and drinks the nectar at the bottom. And again, it gathers pollen and goes from flower to flower, pollinating the flowers, but getting a drink along the way. So another form of mutualism, again, the tick birds again. Okay, this is where that other slide belonged. Okay, sorry about that. So these are oxpeckers. These are red-billed oxpeckers. There's also yellow-billed oxpeckers, and they're in different parts of Africa. And again, these guys go after the ticks. So as the animals, antelope, and things like that go through the pastures and things, they collect ticks and other parasites, and then the tick birds, they come along and they pick off or the oxpeckers come along and they bite off. And sometimes they get kind of aggressive. Sometimes there's some really tough, embedded ticks and stuff. So they leave some wounds and stuff like that. And then, of course, then the flies come along and populate those, and then the oxpeckers get those too.
Oh, gosh.
And this is one of the
wow.
favorites. Okay, this
Oh, boy.
is a Egyptian plover. It's about the size of our killdeer, and when they fly, it's a reverse pattern. Ours, you have the brown wings with the white stripe. These have white wings with the black stripe. But it's not too likely you're going to see an Egyptian plover here.
Yeah.
So anyways, what the Egyptian plovers do is they clean the teeth of the crocodiles. So when crocodiles get a lot of teeth, stuff stuck in their teeth, old rotten meat, because what a crocodile does is drowns its victims and let it rot, and then when it's good and soft and gooey, then it goes in and eats it. So you get all that gooey stuff stuck in between your teeth, and they don't have floss, so they need something to clean up. So the Egyptian plover here comes along. The crocodile willingly opens its mouth, and the plover goes and cleans between the teeth, cleaning them out nicely. So it's kind of a really neat thing.
Yeah, amazing.
I saw my first one of those in Ethiopia, but you can see them throughout Africa if you have a long place where there's some crocodiles in the water, and just don't get too close to the water because those things are fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fast. But when it comes to getting your teeth cleaned, So,
You're very patient, then.
very patient, yeah. And then here's another form of mutualism, and this is kind of an interesting one, and this is complicated, so you got to listen real close, because it's going to sound more like I don't know, one of the soap operas or something. So these are ore pendulas. Okay, you can see the ore pendula right here. This is a chestnut-headed ore pendula, and they make these beautiful, wonderful hanging nest pendula. Okay, and oro meaning golden, because most of the ore pendulas have golden tails. And so they live in communal groups, and typically they hang their nest near wasp nests, which is kind of interesting. And this is one of those things where we're not quite sure what benefits some of it gets, but by having the nest hanging by the wasp nest, they get some protection, because anytime anything climbs the tree or the bushes or whatever, they rattle the wasp nest. The wasps go out and attack it, and they keep any predators away from their nest. So they get a benefit that way. We don't know what the ore pendulas do for the wasp. They're still working on that. But the other thing that happens at these ore pendula nests is a thing called cowbirds. We're familiar with cowbirds here in the state. Or in the States here, but these are giant cowbirds. We get them. They come up through the Central America, and what they do, of course, is they parasitize the nest. They pop an egg in there. Now, what happens is that typically in most of the parasitic things where there's egg laying, the egg that's laid, the cowbird egg or the parasite egg, hatches before the other eggs. So these guys hatch out, so the cowbird has already hatched, and what it does is when the baby or pendulas hatch out, of course, one of the problems they have, and we even have it here, and that is with bot flies that go in and attack the chicks. Well, the cowbirds just love bot flies, so they pick the bot flies off the baby cowbirds. So the ore pendulas tolerate having the cowbird chicks there, and they do take care of them to a degree, but they also, the cowbird chicks take care of the bot flies on the orpendula chicks, and so there's a beneficial thing there. Now, in some cases, with other types of orpendulas, there's about like 12 flavors of orpendulas. They're blackbirds, basically, okay? And they're pretty well in Central and Northern South America. There's about 12 species. Some of them don't appreciate having the cowbirds in there, and so they'll toss out the cowbird egg, and the cowbirds just come back and clean out their eggs, and then they start to cycle all over again. So it's not a very good situation. So, but for the chestnut-headed orpendulas, it's a kind of a cooperative thing, and so they both benefit. Oh, here's one of my favorites: dung beetles. Yeah, I know. Somewhere I have a video of a dung beetle actually running its dung. Okay, but anyways, and there's a thing about mutualism, and you may not quite be able to see it in this picture. Okay, there's all kinds of little brownish things all over the legs and on the shell, and let's see, I got a better picture here.
Oh.
These are mites. Okay.
Really?
These are mites. So the dung beetle there carries a whole flock of mites. So, and the thing is that the mites don't feed on the dung beetle. No, what they do is they use the dung beetle as a transport mechanism. And when the dung beetle comes up to a fresh deposit of dung, okay, when it comes up to that and is going to, of course, make a ball, the mites jump right off immediately, and they go into the dung, and they get all the insects and parasites that are in there.
Oh.
So they go and they eat all kinds of stuff in there, basically sanitizing the dung for the dung beetle.
Wow.
And so when they're done with it, the dung beetle starts gathering up and rolling the dung into a ball into which it can deposit its eggs, and then the eggs can grow in there and be more dung beetles. So really kind of an interesting thing, when you take a real close look.
Yeah.
I didn't look close at the dung beetles. I just got down there, took some pictures. I thought, oh, isn't that interesting? But there's always one more thing.
Yeah.
One more little thing out there to learn. So there's some thing called mutualism. So the mites benefit. They get a ride from the dung beetle. They get to go to a new source of food. And then the beetle benefits because it gets nice sanitized, if you will, dung, and then something he can roll up into a ball and deposit its eggs.
Huh.
What? Didn't know that, did you? No?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And more symbiosis, mutualism. Now, this was something that everybody's heard of. Okay, you have the so-called a honey guide in Africa, which is a kind of bird that just loves honey. And the story is that honey guides guide honey badgers to the nest of the bees, and the honey badger goes in and tears it up and allows the honey guide to get some of the honey. Well, lie. It's not true. It's one of those things. A guy told this lie back in the 1700s.
Wow.
He went to Africa, and he said he never saw it, but he heard that this was true, that honey guides depended on honey badgers to find beehives to break into. Well, so for over 200 years, ornithologists, scientists, whatever, nobody has ever observed this. And so a woman named Claire, I can't say her last name because it's an Afrikaans name, but anyway, she's the wife of a guy I go birding with in South Africa. But anyways, she went and did a study starting in 1990. And you know what they found out? Honey badgers never go, in fact, they don't even care about honey. Okay, they don't care about honey at all. And as a matter of fact, what they found was that it primarily likes things like reptiles and anything else it can eat. It's a carnivore. So it doesn't. But what they did find was that people use honey guides, to find nests. And that's what I knew. I forgot one thing. I forgot my recording.
Oh.
I have a recording here. So anyways, so what they found out was that man has used honey guides. So when it's about the time that they want to find honey or whatever, they actually call the honey guides. The honey guides have learned the song from people, and then they call the honey guide. The honey guide responds and guides them to the honey. Then they break open the hive or whatever, locate the hive, and then they share the wax and leftover honey with the honey guides. So it's kind of an interesting thing, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they suspect that this goes all the way back to Stone Age, you know, with this cooperative thing. And again, it's a mutualism thing, but it wasn't what we thought it was.
Yeah.
So honey guide or honey badgers or rattels, as they're called, are found in sub-Saharan Africa all the way through the Middle East and into India and that. So I'm gonna find this thing that I recorded. Huh. Do you know how to operate this thing, Bob? No. Okay.
So a honey
Guide.
guide, and is that a bird?
Yes.
Yeah, so honey guide, there's greater and lesser honey guides.
Yeah.
This is a greater honey guide here, okay? And it's about the size of a cardinal, okay? So it's not very big at all,
Oh,
okay?
wow.
And
I'm sorry, I missed. I'll go back and.
here, the honey guide is flying. So,
Wow.
so that's kind of neat. That's kind
It
of
is neat.
that is, you know, so it's another one of those things that you know, you look around a little bit and you find out that some of the things that you believe just are not true. So there's the honey guide, and there's all kinds of stories about about honey badgers. And yes, honey badgers are really dangerous animals. You don't want to confront them.
Yeah.
But they don't eat honey.
And they don't eat honey. In fact, there's several of these animals that supposedly eat honey that don't, you know, or that they even respond to sounds of honey guides or anything. So they did a lot of work in the 90s, primarily in Madagascar and some other places where they could actually observe them. And so there's a big paper on that, but still, it's all out there that the honey badgers are guided by the honey guides to tear open. It's really man that's doing it. So
Unbelievable.
it's unbelievable.
It is.
So one more thing, you know.
Yeah.
Well, then there's parasitism. I spelled it right that time. Okay. So you know, so we know
Okay.
about some of the parasites up here. Tapeworm, you know, gets down there in your gut. Yeah, I remember as a kid, our biology teacher said, she heard about somebody who had a tapeworm, and in order to get it out, what they did was they starved the person for about a week, and then they had her lie down with her mouth open, and they put a bowl of soup in front, and the tapeworm
you're
came
kidding
out.
me. You're making it up.
No, that's what she told us.
Oh,
No, it did not
Gross.
happen.
yeah.
But, you know, again, one of those big lie type
Yeah.
things, you know, and, you know,
Like-
but we have some other things, you know, we got ticks, okay? We don't like those, you know,
One of
they
my
get on there, they
favorites.
suck and everything, and we get no benefit. In fact, sometimes we get diseases like Lyme disease and things like that. Mosquitoes, gosh, you know, they spread all kinds of things. You got malaria, yellow fever, things like that, you know. And of course, the favorites out here, flat flies that our birds get, you know, they're bloodsuckers, and we really hate
Your
those
favorite.
things. Yeah, they're one of our favorites. Yeah.
Gross.
So these are some typical parasites that you know they go and we don't benefit from them. You know, in fact quite the opposite. In fact, they can be quite detrimental to us. You know, let's see. We have some other forms of parasitism.
Is that a person? Yeah. I am familiar with that.
Millennials laying,
Yeah, right.
sleeping in their parents' basement. You know, another form of parasitism. I'm sorry, I just had to do that.
Yeah.
Shame on me. But one of the things that we're familiar with are cowbirds, brown-headed cowbirds that come to our feeders and that kind of thing, and of course they lay their eggs, and then some other bird like this Wilson's warbler ends up raising the baby. Okay, and again, this is another one of those interesting things. Originally cowbirds were called buffalo birds. They followed the buffalo herds as they went through the prairies, and so they would follow the buffalo herds, and then they would parasitize nests along the way. But we humans, being what we are, we have just screwed everything up because we just had to go in there, and what the buffalo did was they basically made an avenue, if you will, or a street or a road that the cowbirds could follow, and that kind of kept things under control. But what we humans did is we've made all these permanent structures, and so we've made roads, and typically cowbirds will parasitize a nest within about 50 yards of an open area. Okay, so if you have a road, they'll follow the road, and then 50 yards either side of that could be parasitized, and so that's what they do. And one of the things that in our what do you want to call it, rush to be green, one of the things we've done is we've really messed things up because there's areas where there were no cowbirds, and now there are. And why? Because we went into some of the forest and things, particularly in the mountains, where we put in windmills, where we put the windmills in, we put in roads, where we put the roads in, we also put in right-of-ways for the power lines and stuff like that. And so we've opened up forests that at one time were immune to cowbirds, and now the cowbirds have invaded that. Particularly, the first area was in West Virginia. Some of those mountainous areas never saw a cowbird in their lives. And then now we have them there, parasitizing all these warblers and things like that.
Wow.
The other thing that was interesting is that cowbirds actually come back and visit the nest to see how the kids are doing.
Oh, really?
And they sing to the babies, and that's how cowbirds learn to be cowbirds. And and there's one part of the story I don't know is really true, but they say that the cowbirds, when they get big enough, they wander out of the nest, okay, and they meet up with mom, and then they go back to the nest, in the morning. Like I said, some of this stuff sounds like a soap opera,
Yeah, right. Wow.
So it's a really severe form of parasitism, and so we lose the if you will, the beneficial birds that we want, and part of it is our fault. We did the things that now allow for things like the brown-headed cowbirds, bronze cowbirds out west, and some of the other stuff, and it's because we altered the ecosystem, and so sometimes instead of just plowing ahead with something because it sounds neat or cute or whatever, sometimes we got to step back and say, what are going to be the ramifications of doing some of this stuff?
Yeah.
So the mother, that's not the cowbird, will feed all the birds? Does she know that it's not hers?
No, she won't know it's not hers.
Okay.
So it's so like the woolly warbler, and that and that sometimes the cowbird's the only thing left in the nest. Sometimes the others get kicked out or get disposed of. So it depends on what species they predate. Okay, so it's
Wow.
so it's and the same thing with cuckoos. Cuckoos do similar thing. Now I'm not talking about American cuckoos. I'm talking about European cuckoos. Okay, so they do the same kind of parasitism, but they
That's
do
good.
check. They do keep an eye. So the mother cowbirds go along and they check, and if the egg gets popped out, they go in, lay another one. They know that, which is kind of amazing.
It is amazing.
So in conclusion,
Conclusion.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
wow,
Wow.
well, so
Yeah.
it's just amazing what's out there, and I've only touched on some of the things like sharks and pilotfish. Okay, that that pilotfish come and clean. And then you have things like the little clownfish and the sea anemones, and stuff like that. There's all kinds of cooperative things that go on, and and like I said at the beginning there, of course the biggest parasitism is the IRS and taxpayers. It's a one-way street, okay? So I'm going to hear from them, I know.
Yeah, right.
Uh-oh.
There's a lot of-
So anyway, talking about parasitism. Oh, no. No, we're going to be out there, and we're going to be doing some more programs. We got some stuff coming up. You know, we're still doing our raptor adventures. We have one today, one tomorrow, and one Friday.
Wow.
So we're going to be showing people around our facility. But in the meantime, what we have coming up, we got the summer reading program up at the Garrett Library on the 20th. And so that's up in Garrett, Indiana at 2 o'clock. And then that evening, we're going to be at the Wells County Fair there in Bluffton. Let's see, on Saturday, we're going to go up to LaGrange County. So we have, let's see, what we have there. We got, we're going to go to the library in LaGrange at 9 o'clock. 11 o'clock, we're going to be in Topeka. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to be there in Shipshewana. Okay, and I even spelled it right. Okay, so, and then, let's see, 4 days later, we're going to be at the Allen County Fairgrounds at the fair. And we're going to be there twice. We're going to be there on Wednesday, and we're going to be there on Friday. And then, let's see, and then mid-August, we have a little break in there. I don't know what happened there, but we got a little break.
Yeah.
But I think we got several other things going on. But these are just public events that you can readily go to. We're going to be doing some bird watching there in the Auburn's Park, okay, in Auburn at noon on that Friday. Then going to be at the Kikiyunga Festival down there at Riverside Park in Decatur. And that's always fun. They didn't have it last year, which was unfortunate. And so we're going to have it this year. And then on the 14th, it's a Saturday, we're going to be in the Huntertown Heritage Day Parade.
Oh.
Okay. So we're going to be there. So look for us. And then following the parade, we're going to be over there at the Family Park doing a program with all our birds. So we'll have all our birds out there so everybody can get to see them. So we'll be there at the amphitheater there. And
What's
that's,
that date?
it is the 14th of August. It's a Saturday. So we're going to be there. So you're going to have a lot of, what's the matter? You're not going to make it?
Oh, my daughter has a dance program that day.
Well, that's too bad.
It's in the evening.
Okay. So then, anyway, we were just at Oak Farm yesterday at the Montessori school, and apparently that was a good day. We're going to be out there at Camp Mollenauer, the summer program they have out there, and we're going to be out there twice, 1 week apart, once for boys, once for girls. Jake's Day over at the Icing Walking League. Let's see, you've got the Little Preachers Preschool, the Well Point Academy, Cedar Creek Child Care. So we have lots of opportunities for you to come out, see us, see our birds, and we'll parasitize you for what's in your wallet. Okay.
No.
No, we won't. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, so come on out and see us. Keep an eye, So if you can't remember all this, just go to our website, soarinhawk.org, and it's on there of the events. And don't forget, Jeff, Air, and Poe, they need fish.
Yeah,
So we want to
they
make
do.
sure that they just love their fish. And then there's opportunities for teachers. It's getting kind of late in the season now. I know somewhere they have that Survey Monkey, and I don't know where it's going to, but somewhere it's going to come out. And again, if you want to volunteer and do some work out here, we can give you some hours so you can take them back to your principal, and you can get some growth points. And don't forget the Raptor Adventure. Come on out, see us. You get to meet all the birds a little more up close than you would if you came to one of our programs. We do this daily. We're here every day of the week. And typically a good time to come is between 1 and 2. But we can always make some other arrangements with you. But you come on out there, see all the birds, and then get your picture taken with your favorite bird. Or your favorite bird might get a picture taken with you. So it's so you give us you can contact us on our website and make arrangements, and so we can take up to 8 people at a time, and children under 13 have to be accompanied. Okay, so that's the only kind of rule that we have. So you just can't bring the kids up to the driveway and dump them off. You gotta right. And then don't forget, we have programs available for schools, homeschoolers, community groups, scouts, churches, retirement homes. We go to birthdays, weddings, Eagle Awards, block parties, baby showers. And so, or we can come up with a number of other different events that we would come for. So we will bring the birds to you, and you can sit back with your family and enjoy them there. So you can go into soarinhawk.org at programs-learn and see what kind of things we can arrange. And don't forget Amazon. If you're buying stuff on Amazon, it's getting ready to go back to school, so you're buying school stuff. So get on there and we get a percentage. I think we get 1% back or something like that. No, it's 0.5%.
Yeah,
we get 0.5% back, but that's okay. 0.5% is better than nothing.
Right, 0.5% is better than no percent.
Okay. And then don't forget your community rewards from Kroger's. We just got our notice that for the second quarter, we got $436. And so we're thanking 153 families that shop at Kroger's. And so the more people that shop at Kroger's, the more money we make. Okay? So, yay. Okay. So, yeah. What do you think about that, Monet? Monet says, okay.
Yeah.
And, that's the end.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
There's more up here. So if you guys can think of a topic that you would like to hear about or discuss or whatever, there's lots of stuff out there in nature. Every time you go out, there's something more to see. So I thought that, like the dung beetle thing there, I thought it was just interesting watching the dung beetle pile up the dung and roll it into a ball. I thought that was kind of interesting, and watch him go across the desert sand there. But I didn't know what else was going on.
The crocodile.
Oh, the crocodile.
Like
Yeah, that
one
would be.
with the bird. That one goes.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of stuff out there to be observed, to be looked at. So sometimes I know it. Looking around and just kind of enjoying the fresh air. Oh, it looks like my raptor adventure has just come. Well, I gotta go, folks. So
okay, Bob's gonna go.
That's all, folks.
Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week then.
Okay.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.